I could risk putting things into jeopardy, which I'm not prepared to do.
Could we ask if we were told there was going to be a stock exchange this morning at 10 o'clock, announcement at 10 o'clock. It didn't arrive, I think, until about 11:30. Was that delay to try and raise finance emergency this morning to completely eradicate the need for you and the 10-point deduction which the Football League is now saying it's going to consider?
No.
Can you tell us the reasons for the delay this morning, please?
There was an interest expressed to the company's Nomad broker that there might be a buyer for the shares of the PLC. That interest was expressed yesterday. They were given, the process was already well underway. They were given a deadline of 7:30 p.m. yesterday to prove that they were in a financial position to be able to complete their bid. That was extended until 11 o'clock this morning, and there was no proof of funding. So the process continued. But that's what created the delay this morning.
Is that interest now dead, or is it still ongoing?
I've not been directly involved in that interest, but I would imagine if the people were serious, then there's a possibility they'll still come forward. And we will look out who they were, and we will be looking for them, obviously.
What sort of? I mean, I know you're kind of open to offers now, aren't you? What can someone pick Southampton Leisure Holdings up for, roughly?
It's a bit early for me to give you that answer, and certainly I wouldn't want to prejudice the value of my asset. So we will be prepared to enter into discussions with any prospective purchasers around numbers.
And you mentioned the fact that the football club directors are still in place. So Michael Wilde presumably is.
No. There are directors in place, but they're not. Only David Jones of the original board remains in place.
Can you tell us who the other ones are, please?
David Jones and a gentleman by the name of Kenneth Toynton.
Just the two?
Just the two, yes.
And they're running the football club?
They're running the football club, yes.
This is a genuine question rather than an accusation. Can you square then, if you were the Football League and you were talking to the Football League, if the tea lady, for example, was made redundant, just as an example, that affects the football club, does it not? So,
well, it means there's no tea.
Exactly. I think the phrase Football League uses if the running of the football club is unaffected. So what I'm saying is
any change, if you're going to that extreme an example, then any change affects the football club. Then it can't be that small to affect the rules relative to the points deduction, can it? So it's a question of materiality, I guess.
Right. And you know the level that you're kind of.
Well, they're distinct, separate legal entities, as far as I'm prepared to say at this stage. And as I've said several times now, I'm not prepared to jeopardise the position and the discussions that we're having with the Football League.
If you were dealing with money in a slightly less serious manner, i.e. if you were a betting man.
I'm not a betting man, so wasted question.
But would you advise someone who was a betting man to bet on Southampton being here at the end of the season?
I just said I'm not a betting man. We will be taking every step and every effort with a view to ensuring that this club survives. But we can't miraculously extract buyers from nowhere. It depends if there are buyers there.
You've dealt with lots of companies, not just
lots of companies, yes, more substantial companies.
How does this task that you face compared to what you've seen in the past?
We're in a very different, unprecedented economic climate, and that has affected the values of all business sales, and it's affected the number of buyers that there are in the market. So it would be naive of me to say to you that yes, we will sell this football club. What we do, we use best endeavours to ensure that we can.
What would your message be to the supporter base, Mark?
My message to the supporter base is come and support your club to the end of the season. Not only will you help it actually get to the end of the season, but you will send a message to any prospective buyers that the gate numbers they've been seeing of late are actually not the true support that Southampton Football Club enjoys. Because clearly anybody looking at the club will be analysing the financials, and the gate numbers have been very, very disappointing, and that affects the revenue of this club materially.
There's a direct link, there's a direct effect of fans turning up. You're saying that will impact on the length of tenure the football club currently has?
It will affect the length of tenure, and it will send a message to prospective buyers that Southampton Football Club has a much more solid fan base than you would perhaps anticipate by just looking purely at statistical gate attendance numbers.
Given that the fans are somewhat sceptical of anything that Richard Lowe may have done in the past or done in the future, you have already been asked whether he's expressed an intention of buying the club back once it's in administration. Have you actually asked him that, or has he not indicated it?
I have actually asked him that, and he has said no. But of course everybody's entitled to change their mind, and I can't control what he does. But at the moment, he's stepped down and he's no longer involved in the football club or the holding company. He has, however, said that he would be more than prepared to assist us in any way that we require. He's not walking away from his responsibilities as such. He feels that it would be better for him not to be present.
Mark, if somebody rings up this afternoon and says, tell me why I should buy Southampton Football Club, what would you say to them?
Well, basically, I'll just echo the comments that Michael's made. You know, there are great facilities. It is a great club. It's got a great history. Clearly, there have been issues over its history in more recent times. I think it's an opportunity actually to acquire a great football club at a very reasonable price, based on what people would have been buying for football clubs historically. And if you look at it, take a longer-term view, then it could make a great investment.
Well, it's about a lot of the debt was against the stadium. What's the likelihood of being able to refinance the payments or something like that?
So, clearly, I can't comment for the creditor against the stadium specifically, but the signals that we have is there is an opportunity to reach an agreement with the provider of that finance, and they would welcome discussion around it.
And what would be the issue over the summer? You say sort of maybe getting through to the end of the season. Is it a case of then reassess, because obviously there won't be any income coming into it?
Well, that's the problem. You can't trade through the summer without any income, and without a defined future, then it won't be appropriate to take season ticket holder money, obviously, to fund the income, which is what you would do in a normal football club environment.
So beginning of May is really the cut-off?
Absolutely.
Is it a much more tempting proposition for a potential buyer now you've gone into administration than it would have been yesterday morning in those 11 hours?
I suppose it depends on the objectives of the buyer, really, and what they want to achieve from it. But all I can say to you is I think there's a very good opportunity now for this football club to be bought at a very good price.